Alright guys, so I've just finished a 6-week cut where I managed to get down, to be honest I don't know what I was at the start. Looking at myself, I may have been 12 or 13%, I'm not actually sure. But at the end of the cut I did get a scan and I came in at 6% body fat with 4.1 kilos of fat around my body, which is relatively leaner than you'd want to be just in your day-to-day life. I obviously did this for business reasons, wanting to do like a photo shoot and also see how it felt and see if my nutrition principles work and stuff like that, but it's definitely not something I'd recommend to people on the regular day-to-day thing. So the reason why I wanted to do this video is just to talk about the experience, how I set it up, how I went about it, what I did during the cut, like if I hit obstacles, things like that, what I changed, and how I felt, you know, like at the end of the cut and stuff like that. So this is going to be like a raw video. I'm just going to sit in front of the camera and have a quick chat. If I stuff up, I'll cut and edit, whatever. But I've made like some bullet points on my phone just so I can remember what to talk about and that during this video. But what I want to go through first is how I set up the like the start of the cut and like how I went about it. So what I do is I use MyFitnessPal. Everyone knows that I track my calories to a T. Well, when I'm on, obviously I go through areas where I'm nice and relaxed, where I don't track. Then when I really want to turn it on, I'll track everything. So what I do is I went to MyFitnessPal and I edit with the goal options and stuff like that. So it's a little bit different to other people. I edit with the goal. And the number I wanted to get to for my daily goal was 2,800, so 2,800 calories. The reason why, I know my BMR, my basic metabolic rate, that's how many calories I burn just at rest, like if I was just to lie in bed or sit here on this couch all day, is roughly 1,700 to 1,800. On multiple occasions, I've worn a heart rate monitor, a chest strap one, so one of the more accurate ones, and done my day-to-day tasks around the gym, stuff like that. You know, training clients, grabbing kettlebells and weights and stuff, taking people on the pads, all that kind of stuff. And I know that I burn roughly about 1,000 calories a day. So 2,800 would roughly be my maintenance. If I ate that, I'd, you know, maintain my weight, give or take a little bit here and there, because obviously every day is different. So that's what I wanted my goal to be. What I then do is I track every single bit of exercise that I do that isn't obviously my normal day-to-day stuff. So my workouts, obviously I wear my heart rate monitor, be it weights, boxing, running, whatever it was, and I track those calories and I add them to MyFitnessPal. So let's say I did a 960 calorie workout, I would have my 2,800 calories, I'd add 960 and that would take me to 3,760 calories for the day would now be my new maintenance. So what I do, let's say I did a second workout of 200 calories at the end of the day or something like that, I would also add that. Just any calories burned that weren't part of my normal day. So then what I do is I obviously enter all my calories into MyFitnessPal and I make sure I under-eat that target. So whatever that top number in the top right hand corner, if you haven't quite hit your goal, that number's green. So what did I say before? 3,760. So if I only ate 3,600, that number would be 160. So that'd be the amount of calories left till I hit my goal. So that would mean for me, I was in a 160 calorie deficit. If I went over 3,760 and the number went red, let's say I was in a red number of 48, that means I'm in a 48 calorie surplus, which is not what I want, obviously, when I'm trying to lose body fat. So what I did is roughly averaged, I promote people to be in roughly, you know, 400 to 600 calorie deficit per day. I feel like it's a very manageable rate of weight loss. It's not going to have you too hungry, things like that. But because I wanted to just get in and get the job done in 6 weeks, I decided to average anywhere from 600 to 1,000 calorie deficit per day. Obviously didn't want to constantly be hitting the thousands because I didn't want to engage too much muscle loss, which when you stoop down too low on your calories, your body starts tapping into muscle as well as body fat for fuel. So yeah, I averaged roughly about, I think over the course of the whole thing, was averaging about 800 calories per day was my deficit. So obviously day to day my calories were never the same, so I can't say I ate this much, then this much, then this much. So within those calories, the one macronutrient that I did track, I don't track exact macros like protein, fats and carbs, because I just feel like it's too much work, and I feel like the difference is pretty small. But pardon me. Within the calories, whatever it was, I tried to make sure I was hitting roughly 120 grams of protein. Some days, let's be honest, it was only like 85 to 90. Some days it probably spilled over to more like 145, 150, but averaging out was about 100 to 120. So that's roughly about what I need. You know, I'm a pretty light individual. Like at the moment, I'm only sitting at 69, 70 kilo. So those protein targets are about roughly what I need, and then I just let the carbs and fats all fall into place. Didn't eat strictly clean foods. Obviously majority of the time was clean, because those clean, so-called clean foods obviously are low in calories and have more satiety levels, so they fill you up more. So most of my diet consisted of those foods, but I wasn't afraid to every now and then have, like, you know, well, one of my main meals, which a lot of people can't have in the diet, is like spaghetti bolognese. That was one of my main meals. If I went out to, you know, eat or something, I'd have like a steak sandwich at a local restaurant, or I wasn't afraid to do these things. Even the week leading into the final scan, I was still having these like Get Chunky cookie things, which are like, I've estimated them to be about 800 calories each. I was even having a couple of those a week out from my final scan, but because of the intensity levels that I was training at, I was managing to burn these off or just get them into my daily calories. Now I want to talk about how I progressed with the calories during 6 weeks, because one thing you do hear me talk about is metabolic adaptation, and that's when you've been dieting for a while, your body adapts to the lower amount of calories that you give it. The human body is amazing. It wants to reach a level of homeostasis where the body just runs as is and just stays the same. So when you feed it too fewer calories, the body will soon adapt to that. And also another thing you need to take into account, as you lose weight, you become lighter, you require less energy to move around and do your day-to-day activities. So, you know, going back to the start, I said my daily goal was 2,800. That was my BMR plus what I would move around and burn per day. So for the first, I think, 2 weeks, I kept it at 2,800. Then the third week, I dropped it to 2,600. The fourth week, I dropped it to 2,500. The fifth week, dropped it to 2,400. And then the last week, dropped it to 2,200. So obviously my body wasn't adapting that quickly, but like I said, this was just 6 weeks. I wanted to get in and get it done and just see how lean I could get in 6 weeks. And yeah, so that was the way I approached that. But obviously still added in the workouts the exact same. So if I still burned, 700 calories working out, I'd still add 700 calories. But I think even though my FitnessPal said I was averaging an 800 calorie deficit day to day, because I'd adapted those calories and brought them lower and lower, I feel like I was probably in more of a deficit than that. So that's why over the 6 week, my results were quite full on. Like I did drop a lot of body fat very quickly. But I felt very drained because of it. So that's the next thing I want to talk about is start of the cut, it wasn't too bad. Hunger wasn't an issue, stuff like that. As I started to get to the lower levels of body fat, I believe you got a few hormones, ghrelin, leptin, these like your hunger hormones and stuff like that. The leaner you get, your body starts pumping these out because the body wants to store fat for a time of starvation. It doesn't want to burn it, it wants to keep it there so it has a source of energy when it needs. So when you start getting really lean, your body makes you hungrier and hungrier to try to force you into eating. So that way it can start storing the body fat, because essentially you're killing yourself. You're essentially starving yourself to death, and that's why your body starts eating away at body fat and muscle tissue and stuff like that for energy. So obviously as the diet went on, I got hungrier and hungrier and really started to struggle like with my intake of food and stuff like that. Like I did blow out a couple of times, and I'll explain how I managed that. But yeah, did find probably the hardest time I've dieted was this time around, but I think it's probably because it's the leanest I've got as well, and because of how big my deficits were, which is why I go back to saying roughly it's better to have 500 a day rather than averaging like 800-900 a day, because that made me severely hungry. I just know that I've got massive willpower. Yes, it was hard, but I did manage to push through. Did blow it a couple of times, but I know how to fix it. I'll get to that. Another thing, so as well as that, my mood, I got because I was hungry, I think hangry is the thing, because I got that, like, literally got very irritable. I had a very short fuse. Small things would, set me off and give me a temper, things like that. Just felt tired all the time. Like, if I wasn't even when I was up doing something, I felt tired. Even if I had a nap or something like that. But literally, I was sitting on the couch. If I chuck a movie on, give me like 5-10 minutes, I'd be struggling to stay awake. I'd have to get up and move around or go have a drink or something like that. Body just felt very drained and very tired, just 24/7, especially the last 2 weeks. The last week especially, like, I was suffering, just had no enthusiasm about anything, like walking around the gym, stuff like that, like people would be cracking jokes. I just had, just no humour, no nothing. I was just like it's like a wet flannel. There was just nothing to me. It just didn't feel good. So another thing I want to touch on is kind of like, a few people ask like what I ate. So a normal day would probably look like this. I'd start the day with like a coffee, sometimes black coffee, cappuccino, mocha, dirty chai, whatever. So anywhere from 0 to like 250 calories, 300 calories, whatever. Then, so that would be like 5 a.m. I would then push through till about 10, where I'd have like some Chobani or YoPro yogurt, so very high in protein, very low in calorie. A massive serving of that, like 300 gram or so, with like strawberries or blueberries or banana quite a lot of the time, also with honey on top. So get a few micronutrients, high protein levels, low calorie. That would keep me full for a little while. Depending when I train, sometimes I have like a crumpet or an English muffin with honey and peanut butter on, or maybe like a little bit of Nutella or something like that pre-training, or 2 bits of peanut butter on toast, something like that. Because obviously I have quite a busy lifestyle. One thing I was resorting to is those microwave meals you get from like McCain's and stuff like that. So I don't know if McCain's is a New Zealand brand, you Aussies might not know it. Maybe, I don't know. But so then, like when I got back from training, I would have like a microwave meal. So once again, like another 200-300 calories. Go back to work, I'd have like an apple and like another coffee, something like that. Push through the day, sometimes resort to having like a protein bar or something, but most of the time I just push through. Even though I was very hungry, I like to have a big meal into the night. That's just the way I like to do things. And then at night I'd have something like spaghetti bolognese with low calorie pasta, or anything. Like I'd buy one of those pre-made corned beef like silver sides and have that with like potato and veg and stuff, but I'd have a massive serving. And I'm a dessert guy, I like to have dessert after dinner. So a lot of the time I'd then have like a Halo top ice cream, and I'd eat the whole tub. They're only like 300 calories a tub. So sometimes we'd do something like that, and they also come with like 20 gram of protein too. So on top of my dinner, those two combined would help me hit my protein targets. And then I enjoy going to bed on an empty stomach, on a full stomach. It helps me sleep, and yeah, like if I'm lying there hungry, there's probably a good chance I'm gonna want to get up and snack. So that's the way I approach the food side of things. Going forward, so I managed to get down to my 6% body fat, which I was happy with. Did like a bit of a photo shoot thing and stuff like that. I'm now about to have a little bit of like couple weeks off tracking. Then I'm gonna very loosely track my calories, and I'm gonna start eating about 3,000 a day. I'm gonna still continue to do my boxing training, continue to run. So I'm still going to be doing a fair bit of cardio, but over time I'm going to increase those calories from 3,000 to 3,200 to 3,300 to 3,400 and keep building my metabolism back up. And also the reason why is having more food in me will fuel my training sessions, make me feel better, make me perform better. I'll be able to get stronger, faster, more explosive, which will help me out with like training and boxing and stuff like that. So I'm actually excited now to go, because my training did really start to suffer. Like I was going through the motions, but by the end of it, the whole point was just to burn calories. That was all I was caring about. Whereas now, during my workouts, I'm not even going to wear my heart rate monitor. I'm just going to get in, do what I've got plan for that day, be it a strength day, be it an explosive day, be it a long distance run on my interval runs. Do it to the best of my ability. Trial with foods to see what helps me best perform best, like what I'm eating an hour and a half before I train and things like that. And just really get stuck into the majority of winter eating in a calorie surplus. Yeah, I'll probably put a few kilos on. I'm going to stay fit 'cause I'm still going to be doing all the cardio. But I don't care. Like I said, about 70 kilo now. I don't care if I even end up 77, 78 kilos, as long as I feel good performance-wise. And also, it'll help rebuild up my health, because when you start to get really lean and you spend a long time in a deficit, your health can take a hit, like testosterone can drop, things like that. There's females and guys, there's a lot of stuff which isn't that good for us when we get down to the lower levels of body fat. So yeah, that was just a quick rundown on how I am doing this, how I went about this. And if you're still here after pretty much 15 minutes of this boring chat, thanks for listening. Hopefully you learned something from this. If you do want to push yourself and diet down and see what you look like, stuff like that, and just see where you're at mentally, see if you can push yourself, then you're more than welcome to come and have a chat with me. But like I said, definitely not for the faint of hearted. Like for guys, I think sitting between 8 to 10% body fat is a really good look, and females, like even up like around the 18% mark is a very realistic, good approach. So females who want to get down to like 10% body fat and stuff like that, it's really going to mess with your hormones. And guys, if you want to start getting into single digits and really push the boundaries, same thing. Make sure you're doing it for the right reasons, because whether you're 6% or 9%, you're still going to be happy with your body. There's no reason to not be sitting at 9 or 10%. But yeah, alright guys, thanks for listening, and I'll see you all again soon.